DC rules. What did I say? Confirmed. Confirmed. Completely confirmed. Oh man. Completely confirmed that Chris Nolan held back the DCU. Completely held back WB. And had basically WB's hands tied. He was basically a spoiler. He fucked up their shit. I'll put the link in the bottom. They say basically there's an article claiming how he basically hijacked the Batman series. Basically fucked it up and made it his own crap. And WB had their hands tied and were kind of fucking annoyed with what he did. Like I said, in the article in here, I don't agree with everything the guy says in the article, but he's saying how DC had 40 years, basically 40 years ahead over Marvel, and they could have did it any time, but then Nolan came along, he hijacked the fucking character, and their hands were tied while Marvel was making Avengers. You know, they were going to come out with Justice League first, but then when Hack Nolan did his crap, their hands tied, and they were like, what the fuck? I'll say it right here. I'll put the link. It says, ironically, the studio's franchise potential was stalled by the very filmmaker who ignited supposed interest in the new comic book era of comic book movies over a decade ago. Christopher Nolan, that fucking hack, Nolan was adamant, quote, Nolan was adamant for years that his Batman is not your Batman, bitch, that, quote, his Batman not exist in any shared universe with other characters from the DC canon. Quote, it was like, thank you very much, we'll take it from here now, a source says. He would just do it like, WB was like, who the fuck are you? You don't own the characters. And it said, quote, it was like, thank you very much, we'll take it from here now. Indeed, Nolan's Dark Knight franchise churned out roughly $5 billion, but having a key quote, but having a key character be hijacked, hijacked for so long, tied WB's hands when it came to the fast approaching new paradigm. The Dark Knight here the same year as Iron Man. It would be 3 more years before Nolan will finally conclude his trilogy, his shitty trilogy. In truth, studio had a 40-year head start on Marvel. DC had been under the Warner banner ever since being folded into Time Warner Communications way back in 1969. Yes, exactly. And there's some things in here contradicting, like the guy in the article. I'll put the article. He's talking about WB needs a Kevin Feige. That's bullshit. But then they go on to say that Zack Snyder is the Kevin Feige. That's how it should be. He's the one that's making all the creative decisions. And thank God, because he knows comic books. But I'll play it right here. Ironically, the studio's franchise potential was stalled by the very filmmaker who ignited interest right there. And I'll put the link in the article. Chris Nolan was a hack. Like, that's why I laugh when any idiots say he had anything to do with Man of Steel. Nah. Just like Batman Forever had Tim Burton's name on it, he had jack shit to do with it. Nothing to do with it. He had absolutely nothing to do with Batman vs Superman. And he has nothing to do with Justice League. So stop with the Nolan bullshit. He held back the DCU like 10, 20 fucking years. They were already planning Justice League before Nolan. And Nolan hijacked the fucking thing and stalled the whole DC universe. Put the link on the bottom. Fuck Marvel. DC's better. And thank you, Zack Snyder. Thank you. We didn't have to see this Nolan trash garbage anymore. He was the shittiest filmmaker for Batman. He didn't want anything to do with the DCU. And real fans didn't even want him to have anything to do with the DCU. So, good riddance to bad shit rubbish Nolan. Marvel's garbage. DC forever. And Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck rule. DC out.